Hey YouTube, I'm TJ and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to ask the question, should men expect women to be fit and feminine? So let's chat. Okay, thanks for tuning in. I took some time out to take a step back from YouTube because I had to remind myself that I have started this as a retirement hobby. So it's easy to get in and just, watch videos, and before you know it, hours have passed and you find yourself wanting to get in every day. So I had to take a step back to remind myself, okay, this is a hobby. This is a retirement hobby. And also, I wanted to take a few days to think about the content I wanted to share. So, in so doing, I looked at several channels to include Lapeef's Let's Talk, Kevin Samuel's channel, and last night I called into Anton Daniel's channel and called in, and I was Grow to Six the Goddess. So I've been reviewing these channels to get some content to see what kind of perspective I could offer. And I want to shout out to these young people and Kevin Samuels, and I say and Kevin Samuels because Kevin is in my age group. So I want to shout out to these young people and to Kevin for the content that they are bringing, and also for the flame that has been ignited to move this conversation forward. Again, I wanted to think about, why did I want to do this as a hobby? I wanted to offer the perspective of a 54-year-old woman. I wanted to offer this perspective from someone who, from the successes in my life, as far as my relationship, and also the failures, in hopes that maybe someone who might find their story similar to mine may say, maybe I don't want to do it that way, because I don't want to wait until I'm 52 to get married, because by that time I might not have the opportunity to get married because I got married at 52. So with that in mind, let's get into the topic for today. I asked the question, should men expect women to be fit and feminine? Yes, they should. I know this is not going to be popular and going to be like, what in the world? I get it. I was there too. When I first started tuning in to Kevin sometime last year, I think I watched a couple of videos, and largely because I knew him from high school and college, and just wanted kind of to see what he was doing. But I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention into the content until this year. And when he started talking about that, I'm like, what? How dare you? Who are you to tell me that I should be fit and feminine? But then I started to think about that. And what I mean by that is, when my husband and I first started dating, we met on an online dating site. So I remember our first conversation. Well, let me back it up. We met after, for me, a series of lackluster dates that left me quite frustrated. So during our first conversation, I remember asking him, is it too much to ask for a man not to have man boobs? Is it too much to ask for a man to have all of his teeth? And we laughed, but I was serious. I was serious because it was going down like that. He said, no, it's not too much to ask. But when I was thinking about it initially, for those people who've known me, I've always had or been considered a tooth snob. What does that mean? That means that if I encountered you or you encountered me, and you tried to step to me and you were missing teeth. Your teeth were discolored. You had, you know, cracks in your teeth, all those kind of things. You were getting no action from me. None. Again, this is in my 20s, you know, early 30s. You were getting no action because, again, I'm like, I'm not going to be kissing a yuck mouth or somebody who's going to possibly cut my tongue. So it's purely, you know, aesthetic. It had to do with aesthetics. But as I got older, what it really equated to me was that this person was not taking pride in himself. He was not taking care of himself. So if he was not going to make himself a priority to handle, you know, the maintenance and the hygiene of your mouth, I wasn't sure that, you know, he would be for me. So, but that was my standard. You know, it may not have been for everybody, but it was my standard, and that is what I expected. So when we think about what Kevin is saying, or, you know, should men expect women to be fit and feminine if they're in the dating market? Why not? Because they, just like I had my standard or my expectation, so do they. And when I start thinking about it in that way, I had to back down off of my being offended because because, you know, I had the expectation. I didn't want to deal with man boobs, and I didn't want to deal with missing teeth, which was the situation with in both instances with the guy that I had dated just before I met my now husband. So it's the same thing. You know, I will say that, you know, back in college and after having my daughter, it was easy for me to maintain my weight. You know, I would run, you know, it was just easier for me to maintain my weight. And of course, while I was in the military, you know, that was a part of your job requirement. So you had to be fit. So it was never an issue for me. And I remember being that woman, yes, it was me, and please forgive me. I was that woman who would see other women who were larger. And my friends and I had a code where we called them, said, you know, that this person has FS, Foxtrot, Sierra, FS, and that meant filthy shape. So you should really be careful about who you make fun of, because fast forward to after 40, I looked up and I had FS. How did I get it? Well, you know, it doesn't matter how I got it. I got it. So I had to put some more effort, and I'm still putting in effort. You know, when I think about fit and feminine, I go back to my first date with my now husband. You know, we met in a neutral place, and you know, we didn't know what to expect. We were going to meet for a dinner and a movie. And, you know, for those who've gone on, you know, online dating sites, you don't know if the person that you are going to meet is going to look like their profile. So I'm sure we were both kind of nervous about that. So, you know, I had on a dress, I had jewels in my ears, you know, hair, makeup, fragrance, all that, and a smile. So I wasn't quite sure if it was him because I couldn't really see that far across the way. But as I got closer, I saw this big smile. And as I got closer, the smile was bigger, as was mine. So that let me know that he liked what he saw. He liked what he saw. He saw a woman, you know, in a dress, you know, feminine, you know, just demure. And early, you know, and after our first date, he hugged me so tight. You know, he later would tell me that that was his way of letting me know that he wanted to see me again. So there's something to be said about that feminine look. So now, fast forward to us being married. It has been a challenge, especially with COVID, to maintain, or I'm not even going to say maintain, to get to my weight goals. But I try each day. Why? Because I want to look good for him as well as myself. You know, I love when I tell him, you know, I want him to often look at me with the same enthusiasm that he did when we first met. And almost 3 years of being together, he still does. You know, we made a commitment to each other that we would do our best to be healthy and fit for each other, because we are older and we want to be together longer. And I have to be honest, I love it when he gives me that yummy look. You know what I mean? So I'm going to do my best to look good. You know, it's not, you know, I'm not going to look the way that I did when I was in my 20s, but I sure can look a whole lot better than I did in my 40s. So, you know, I've said that to say that, yeah, men have a right to expect women to be fit and feminine. And I will tell you, as a woman who has been single, had been single for a long time and been a single mother and being a military officer, I was in positions of more masculine nature, far more than the feminine nature. My profession required that of me. And it's exhausting. You know, to be able to sit back and defer to my husband and allow him to lead is a weight lifted, and I love it. I love being the dutiful wife and being quiet sometimes. So I know that's kind of a roundabout, but I think what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I had to kind of get over myself being offended, because it does make sense. And just like I had the right to my expectation of, you know, teeth and not man boobs, you know, he had a right for, you know, men have a right to see their women or want women that are feminine and fit. So again, shout out to Lapeef Let's Talk. A shout out to Kevin Samuels, Anton Daniels for their content, and Six the Goddess for their content, and helping me to again bring it from a different perspective, because I really don't want people to sit, you know, women primarily, to have to wait until they're 52 to find the love of their life. And, you know, somebody needs to tell us that. So, like, subscribe, and share. Thanks.